it's not a good enough argument to betray principles that I've heard you lambast in a room.
I don't say that.
I'm not talking. I'm just saying. It's so bizarre to me that you call socialism evil, all this stuff, but you can make the defense of socialist takeovers, government socialist takeovers, and ownership stakes. I shouldn't say takeovers, but ownership stakes. What Trump is thinking about taking over an airline, which now I guess according to Brian, Spirit is essential for national security.
I would not support that.
You'll vote for Donald Trump every election. Tomorrow you vote for Donald Trump. Let me finish my point. It's just odd. You vote for Donald Trump every election. It doesn't matter what he does.
I'll never vote for Donald Trump again.
What'd you say?
I'll never vote for Donald Trump again.
Obviously.
What kind of stupid shit was that?
Yeah, so he's missing the point. But the
I'm
honest
just trying
truth,
to
you really got me.
tangents like you got.
Oh, you really got me. This is not a tangent. All right, really got me. I'll never vote for Donald Trump again. That joke was really hitting.
It hit hard.
Wow, it was crazy. I was hearing the Bible Belt, and I threw 2 Corinthians at him. See, I'm going to do Galatians, but it didn't work. Maybe Ephesians. So you know what the book of, you voted for Donald Trump, and you know about the book of Thessalonians.
Oh, yeah.
What's the book of Thessalonians about?
It's the good one.
What's it about?
I'm just kidding. I did earmark a quote from that.
I know you don't. You love a good pivot. I know you don't.
You have no idea.
No, I don't. I did notice a quote from there, a verse that I did earmark. Let's see. Let me pull out my personally inscribed Bible that I have off my.
Brian is one of these people. So Brian is what's called is in the like free market libertarian to conservative Republican born again Christian pipeline. In about 6 years, Brian will be a deacon in some Pentecostal church where a bunch of white people are playing with snakes and the women have to have long skirts down to their ankles. There's an actual pipeline of these kind of people as they get older. And that's why, I don't know if you guys have noticed, Brian was a rabid atheist when he came onto the app. Every year, closer, closer, closer. He'll be born again soon. That's why he's got that Bible. Brian said there was no world in which Brian, 3 years ago, would be working for his local Republican Party. He said he was inspired by Charlie Kirk's assassination. Imagine being a 60-year-old man inspired by Charlie Kirk in any way.
Inspired to do what?
He joined the local Republican Party. He now canvasses for his local Republican Party because of Charlie Kirk. That's how we got in the conversation. Because I asked him who was more socialist, Biden or Trump. And he tried to say Biden, and his evidence was Biden hired tax agents at the IRS to audit people.
Oh, yeah, because taxes are definitely something that are enshrined in the Constitution. Yeah. The founders had no conception of taxes at all. You're right. Yeah, that was.
Why is the general welfare of the founders national security, but not food and health care? And what's odd about it is a lot of people that say that also say we were founded on Judeo-Christian principles, but a Judeo-Christian principle would be to clothe the naked, feed the poor, and take care of the homeless. So why do the Judeo-Christian principles only apply when you want to tell people you're founded on Judeo-Christian principles, but you don't do any of the Judeo-Christian principles? I just think that's very bizarre. I've asked many times, and then say, well, it's not the government's job. Well, then I guess we weren't founded on Judeo-Christian principles.
Yeah, how many feasts and celebrations do you have, Brian? Do you participate in?
Feasts.
Well, I'm going to sell one of my daughters to slavery because I owe American Express a lot of money. That's a Judeo-Christian principle. She gone.
Isn't Thessalonians where?
Oh my God! Just look it up. Just look it up, please.
Yeah.
Don't think aloud. Don't think aloud. You know what? Read it. That would be great. Why would you? You don't even have to ask. Just read it. Read the Bible that you say you want the nation to be based on. It's amazing. People don't do that. Why would you ask somebody else when you can freely read? You have a Bible in your house? No?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Okay, great. Read it on mute.
Brian, last question, just just for me. So just so I can understand, you basically said, like going back to the grocery store claim, that you rather support the local bodega owners and keep their stores open as opposed to opening up the public market to supply the people with food. Like that's the hill you want to die on, just because the bodegas support free market.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
He doesn't understand how New York works because he lives in the real world and we don't.
Right, because
he wouldn't know what a chopped cheese is if you asked him, straight up, like, what's a chopped cheese, son? I know this is a guy like in the middle of the Bible Belt, but he lives in the real world and can tell people about how money works and not the people in New York. That's a man. Why do you real world? Why is the real world so poor? Why can't we ever talk about red states? Let's talk about red states. Why are red states so poor?
Yeah, in fact, let me change my PTR. I've been waiting for this topic to come up. Let me change my PTR. I want to talk about.
Oh, great. Should we change at the top?
Yeah. Why is there poverty? How about that?
No. Why are red states so poor? Once you get into the Bible, you'll know what Jesus said about the question you just.
Okay. Yeah, that's close enough.
So, Brian, why are red states so poor?
I think a number of reasons. I think a lot of it has to do with geography, as far as their industries that they are able to, that they started to create and grow and use as the means of providing a way of life. So a lot of it was agriculture. So, if you look back to the beginning of, let's say, the 1800s, 1900s even, if you look at the number of people in the country in 1800 who were farmers, it's like, 80 or 90%, something like that. And then you go to 1900 and it was, around half that. I don't know exactly. It was much, much less. And then nowadays, it's around 2%. So 2% of Americans today, approximately 2 to 3%, are farmers. And so if you look at the growth of the North versus the South, and to some degree the West, the North used a lot more of a diverse economic, industries. So like manufacturing, technology, banking, things like that, which were a lot more scalable. But when you look at the growth of the agricultural industry, it's really been shrinking. So a lot of people who built their infrastructure, their livelihood, their career around farming and agriculture, a lot of that industry as a whole has decreased exponentially. So that limits the amount of money that can be made in an entire region. So if you look at, like, say, the Southeast, a lot of those states were revolving around, say, tobacco, corn, etc. Of course, there were other places that grew crops, but the South didn't have the manufacturing that they had in the North. Now, I think geographically it was easier for them to just plant crops.
What does that mean?
So geographically, things grow a little easier in seasons.
That doesn't mean they had to concentrate fully. I'm going to
have to. So they were geographically.
So why'd they do that?
Because they were somewhat limited by geography as to what they could do.
What geography limits you from building a factory?
Well, I'm just saying there were.
No. You said they were limited by geography. So why didn't they build a factory? So, for example, cotton. Why did they send all that north? Why couldn't they put the South? Not produce, do the textiles in the South?
Well, I mean, growing peaches, growing, oranges, growing things in the South is easier than growing them up north. So
I understand that. It depends on the crop. You're kind of all over. I'm just asking.
it's true.
I'm just asking, why is it that they didn't build those other downstream, if that's the right term, parts of production? Why they have to send it to the north? This is the 19th century. We haven't even got to the Dust Bowl yet. Your whole thing on farms is so ridiculous and silly. I'm not going to go into all that.
Okay,
But
where am I
just
going
explain
wrong?
explain why they couldn't build farms in the South.
Well, let's just
I'm not
stop
farms.
there.
Why they couldn't build factories in the South?
Well, let's just stop there. Where am I going wrong?
About farms?
About the claims I've made. Where am I going wrong?
Oh, farming had been wiped out. Are you familiar with the Dust Bowl?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
You've heard. Wait a minute. You have an argument about the American economy, and your response to the Dust Bowl is that
I'm not talking about specific events. We're talking about over time since the creation of the country.
What do you think wiped out the farms, especially in the prairie lands?
Hang on. Why certain industries were more likely to thrive and prosper up north versus what was more likely to thrive and prosper in the South. So generally speaking, farming and agriculture was more prevalent and available and accessible in the South.
It wasn't in 1800. You literally just said that 90% of America, which includes, by the way, do you know the nickname of New Jersey?
The Garden State.
Cool. What do you do with gardens? Is that a form of farming? Interesting. You literally said in 1800, 90% of the country was into farming. I'll take you at your word for it. I mean, it's very high. I know it's over age. It's very high. I agree. Or if not farming, agriculture. It could have been, post pig, all types of stuff. But I agree with you. Of course, that was the main economy. Why didn't the South, to this day, why does the South not invest in advanced technology and education? That's the question. It is not because of farming now that Oklahoma is the way that it is, especially after the Dust Bowl. So let me give you major science centers in the South. I'll give you the ones in North Carolina. What are the major science centers? Centers of scientific innovation, scientific breakthrough, scientific study, investment. What southern legislatures invest in science? That's a question. I don't know.
Well, probably the Research Triangle.
That's mostly right. That's run by there's a town there called Cary, which stands for Concentrated Located Yankees. There are no North Carolinians that live in that area anymore. It's totally taken over by homos from the north and Indians from India and the Chinese. But keep going. Somebody gave you one. Huntsville. There's one. Small. There's one. Someone gave another one. There's CDC in Atlanta. That's federal. I don't think CDC counts as a federal entity. But okay. Any others? And Huntsville, as they said, is very, very left wing. It's full of blacks, whacks, and communists who like to jack. Anything else? UT Austin, super blue. Come on, Vine, where are the major? Oh, in your state of Tennessee. The communists over at Vanderbilt. Where are the conservatives of the South who are trying to put the South into an advanced 21st century economy? Or they're all farming. Or they're all waiting for rich people from Seattle, New York to bring their wealth down so they can have jobs.
That wasn't my point.
What about Little Rock, or outside of it, Arkansas, the Waltons? What is the South doing now that we've been post-agriculture for a long time? Where are the major Southern investments in the kinds of industry and technologies that will make them not so poor? Better way to put it, why is the South so anti-education?
I think there are a lot of attempts in the South to increase manufacturing. And Charlotte, for example, is trying to
Manufacturing?
Manufacturing.
In Charlotte?
Charlotte doesn't have manufacturing.
That's
You mean banking? Finance?
Let me finish.
Okay, good.
So what I'm saying, across the South, there are efforts to increase our rate or amount of manufacturing. If you look at another example would be Charlotte trying to get into the banking finance industry.
Well, they've been in it.
There's a trying to expand. I'll say that. There are efforts to increase aerospace and engineering efforts across the South in various cities. So, they're trying to catch up. I think as we get farther away from, a need to have such a high percentage of Americans in the farming industry, I think, you saw Farm Aid with Mellencamp, 30 years ago, right? There was a big push to try to help the farmers that were being pushed out because we basically had too many farms. And so a lot of them were not able to move or stay at competitive prices. So they went out of business kind of suddenly. So as we transition away from, this large percentage of people in the, American states transitioning away from farming, you see cities in the South trying to catch up from a manufacturing and technology, banking, different industries to help diversify, to help, grow their economies. That's my point.
Okay. So the Democrats who moved are trying to pull the Republicans and conservative anti-education people out into the 20th century. So you named Charlotte and the Triangle. That's Mecklenburg County, the former, correct? So you have anything else? What's going on in South Carolina, Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi? We got Huntsville, Louisiana. These are major. What are the major research centers? Conservatives you guys had a lot to say about the 1619 project not being taught in colleges. What are your major research centers? DeSantis did the whole thing with that school in Florida. He put a lot of investment, aerospace engineering, biology, anything.
Well, I don't know that he divided it like you're doing across partisan lines. I think, you have institutions.
He did. Kick people off of the board. He quite literally did. Oh, breaking news. What is it?
The Congress has voted to end a record government shutdown.
Oh, the DHS. All right, cool. Nice. Now I feel less safe. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I'm not dividing it upon partisan lines. I think there are people who can live in it. I think the vast majority of people, not vast majority, there's a substantial, perhaps majority of people who don't, get involved with partisan politics. Yeah, I would say that's the majority. You don't look at it like you do. You're looking at it like what did DeSantis do to bring in, engineering or research or technology into his state?
The people that run the South.
I think a lot of people who get into office, they look at it like, how can I provide more opportunity, more free market options for people to do what they want to do, whether it's in technology or whatever they have access to.
Opportunities for trying to build a technological hub.
You can appeal to businesses and you can say, hey, move to our state. We have, a number of workers who are ready to
not educated
in this area. Well,
so they're not educated. They don't have the skills, the education in those areas, Brian.
Well, maybe
because your party cuts education. Because you want to raise them in Christian schools.
I know you want to make this about left versus right politics.
It quite literally is.
Well,
Read the title,
My
Brian.
point is.
Brian, read the title of the room for us.
Gotcha. My point is, I don't think people.
You said you wanted to have the conversation on red stage. You had a special PTR. You're going to show your Johnson.
That
What's
wasn't
your Johnson
my.
on the table, Brian?
That wasn't my claim. My claim is why is there poverty? You wanted to make it political about red states.
Because what's the name of the house, Brian? It's a politics room, brother.
Okay, well that's
If you
fine.
want to have a general discussion about poverty, I'm sure Pietor and Rohan are somewhere in the hall. They're great accents, and you can do that with those brothers. And by Rohan, I mean Rohan and Royfield. Calling in from D.C. This is Royfield. Pietor, are you there? Well, let's see what's going on in Ukraine. Why is there such poverty in Eastern Europe? What I think is happening is that you can go and find that, and then ping in Black News, and he can read something online, and he acts like it was in his brain, but we can hear him typing in between bites and chews and swallows. So again, if your free market solutions that are so great, why places where the free market's thriving not propel the American technological dominance? None of this stuff this stuff is powered by government investment. Why are people in the areas that you think, the Bible Belt, why don't they have the skills to do the things necessary that people in San Francisco and Baltimore and New York City and Chicago and Durham and Memphis and all the blue cities can do? How come we wouldn't have great engineers coming out of Missouri outside of St. Louis?
I think generally speaking, if you look at what I was trying to describe earlier, given that the South based their economy on agriculture, which they not employed, that's not the right word, which they used slave labor, I think it depressed and we'll just say not retarded. It slowed the growth. So when you operate in an agrarian economy with slave labor, you don't have the diversity of technological opportunities. So it made the South invest less. It didn't make them, but it resulted in them investing less in education. Because why do you need PhDs to work on a farm? You only need backs. You only need people.
I got you.
Physical labor. So
I got you.
the people in the North were more reliant and more encouraging of manufacturing and technology and banking and these other industries that are more intellectual. So they invested more in. Okay, well that's my point. So the South used agriculture and slavery that tremendously slowed down their rate of investment. Yeah,
it's wrong. Okay. What you're saying is wrong.
How so?
Because in the antebellum era, several scientific hubs were in the South. In fact, developments in medicine, engineering. I'll give you a good example. What's it called? The germ theory. All the developments around their mosquitoes and shit came out of Alabama. You're 100% wrong. The South was not far behind. I'm almost done.
You're cherry picking.
I'm just telling you. I'm about to give you the cities. See, you're not interested. Charleston, major cities. Mobile, major city. New Orleans, major city. I go on and on. But I wanted to ask you a question because you keep making this claim about what state produces
that's
the most.
false. I mean, the rebuttal you gave is not correct.
It's not. I actually studied this. This is not false at all. Southern cities were major, and cities and northern cities that had slavery too, and also just the north had slavery too. What was false? What did I say? Let me continue. So, Brian, I have another question. One, I don't know if you hear yourself, but in Massachusetts, Lowell, when those women were making stuff in factories, but those weren't intellectual pursuits. But let me continue. Brian, are you there? Do you know which state produces the most crop and livestock in America? Do you know?
crop and livestock together? Or individually? So which crop?
And total crops and livestock.
Total. So all crops together and all livestock together.
Obviously, the biggest
Either
farm
one
in the
or
state.
both.
Either one.
No, not off the top of my head.
Take a guess.
Well, I mean, if you're saying all of it together. So the state that has the, I'm trying to think about it.
The biggest producers of crops and livestock come from where? Even when you control for space, geographic region.
I would think probably somewhere in the Midwest.
Nope.
Maybe. Okay, well.
Take another guess.
So you're saying total, not per capita. You're saying
in every way, geographic. Well, you wouldn't do per capita.
Well, I mean, we have to get specific because you're randomly
Listen,
mixing
I'm
and
saying
matching
total
different
geographic
variables,
area.
and you're shitting the argument.
I'm not. Listen.
You're saying because first you said crops and
the answer's the same for any of it. Is what I'm saying. It's the same state.
Okay, I'm saying I don't know off the top of my head. I'm trying to think through all.
But based off your argument, it'll be in the South, right?
So you're asking me like 5 different questions.
But the answer's the same for each one.
Okay, but I'm trying to clarify what criteria are you using because you keep
Which
shifting
state?
the argument.
Which state, based off of geographic area, or how about which state has the most, as a percentage of, has the most crops?
I still don't know.
Okay, cool. Based off your argument, it should be in the South, right?
No.
Why not?
Well, because other states in the country have probably evolved to learn the lessons from the models of farming, crop rotation, what sells.
And so why were they
based on,
but also do the technological advance?
Because they probably have a combination of.
So how do a combination?
Because they probably have a combination of all the factors we're describing.
So why didn't they do the combination in the South?
The same reason I just said it twice.
Oh, I didn't hear you because it didn't make sense. Say it again.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
I'll explain. Third time.
Third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. Let's go for it. So they probably have a combination of all the amenable factors to combine those two different industries.
What is the amenable factor for the technological side? I just want to know what that one was again.
Well, so you're asking me about the specific.
I just want to know what a factor is.
Benefits.
So I know what you mean.
Well, maybe geography, weather, the nature of the soil, the number of.
I said on the technological side, not on the agricultural side.
Okay, so technological side, it would probably be maybe there's access to certain.
Let me tell you the answer. California. So California is able to do, I'm almost done. So California is able to do all the farm stuff that it does and have Silicon Valley. Why? And by the way, relative to the South, California is a new state. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
And when California became a state?
1850 or 49.
Look at you. Now, see, you just redeemed yourself. It became a state. It's part of what law? Do you know what we call the law? No, it's part of the compromise of 1850. It becomes a free state. Look at you.
I was close.
How come couldn't do that? What do beaches have to do with technological hubs? Okay, Louisiana. Why couldn't Louisiana do it? So why didn't they make them?
Why didn't they make those? What do you mean? Why didn't they make those factors? of it was outside of their control.
You think Silicon Valley exists because of the beaches? Have you been to Half Moon Bay? Actually, let me ask you a question. That's not more technological. Oh, so they need to produce wine. What about South Carolina?
Yeah, I've been there.
Do they have beaches?
Yeah, nice beaches.
Okay, so why is it a shithole?
I think they have deliberately kept their economies and cities rural with some intentionality.
They prefer.
I think
they prefer being poor.
Prefer that style of life. They prefer,
Charleston? Are you familiar with Charleston?
A simple, small community.
Charleston's a major city. There might be some technological. What do you mean? So they prefer being poor or something? Having good health care? I'm confused.
What I'm saying is, if you talk to people in South Carolina,
that doesn't mean they have to be
probably
poor.
prefer living in a rural environment. They're happy to just, to support the status quo.
Oh, okay, so that's your point. So the reason is people want to be poor and broke and ignorant and suffering. Okay, so that actually is a good answer. Brian, finally answer the question. Red say just poor because they want to suffer.
Yeah, they probably look at the trade-offs. So they don't want large cities because they look at it like
about a large city.
Well, if you look at South Carolina, I think what's their largest town. But I mean, if you look at this, they don't have very large metropolitan areas like Atlanta or Charlotte or whatever other places in the South. Not to the same degree.
The triangle is not triangle in South Carolina. The triangle is not a ton of people.
Well, what I'm saying is they choose not to do those things for whatever reasons.
Well, we know the reasons because they're anti-education and they want to be poor.
No.
Do you think the people of South Carolina?
I wouldn't say that if you ask them what their reasons are for wanting to live there, it would be because we deliberately choose to be ignorant and poor. You're saying if you ask South Carolinians why they live there, they would say we deliberately.
No, I didn't say. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying they're choosing.
I didn't say if you ask them that. I said they clearly do, based off of them continuing to support people and keep them that poor and suffering. Have you been to South Carolina? I didn't say it was. I'm not talking about whether it's their right or not. That's moving the goalposts. What's going on? I know it's their choice. I'm not asking if it's their choice. I'm trying to understand it. Right, they want to be poor and ignorant and dumb. They're not middle class. Yes, they would be ignorant and suffering. That's what I just said. In fact, percentage of South Carolinians on Medicaid. What would be the percentage of South Carolinians on Medicaid is, Brian? Very good guess. It's about anywhere between 20 to 25%. So I have to pay for people who choose to be poor for no reason, except they want to live off my disability.
So we should.
Have you looked at your check, the amount of payroll taxes you pay?
So we should get rid of. So should we get rid of the welfare?
No, this is a Judeo-Christian country. We should
to live in ways. So then the alternative is to.
I think people who are educated, instead of placating them, so you can keep the trainers out of sports. You should inspire.
Yeah, exactly my goal. I'd love to do that.
And yet you're voting for the guys that are cutting money
creation. Wealth.
Creation of what? How do you create it with no wealth? How do you create wealth out of nothing?
Well, there isn't nothing. They have resources.
What resources do they have in South Carolina? Slavery ended in
Every
1865.
state.
Huh?
Every state has natural resources.
How do you create wealth?
Sure, that's how you create wealth.
Oh, so what's South Carolinians' natural resources? Let's see. South Carolina natural resources. This is Ryan's secret to wealth. They have island, kaolin clay, pine timber, fisheries. They gonna be real soon. You conservatives are so unserious. People eat fish. Oh, so you're saying that power them. Fish. You're right. You're exactly right. In an age in which Apple exists and other trillion-dollar companies, South Carolina is going to get carp and smallmouth bass, and then use some wood chips to become a rich state. I'm done talking about it. Fish.
Dan, I don't know why these smirching wood chips that are going to sell better than Apple's. What is it? Are we at the M6 chip now? The A6 chip? Whatever chips that they use to power those laptops. Oh yeah, those Applewood chips from South Carolina. Certainly going to sell more.
How is South Carolina going to compete with the Asian carp in Illinois and the Great Lakes?
Breathe again. Lower overhead and volume.
It's basic economics, yo, hormones.
Yeah, it's basic economics coming out.
When you have the monopoly, so you're gonna challenge the monopolists. They literally have government regulation, like defending, and not only government regulation, they have industries that advocate for Asian carp to remain right where they are.
My other question is, how would they be able to sustainably harvest the fisheries without overdoing it in an effort to have this wealth creation that he is speaking of?
You use sustainable practices.
ESG is dead, so I don't like. If this is a southern state, ESG is dead. I don't really care to hear about sustainability. Well, which one to talk about, Brian? Red snapper, crabs, oyster,
Shrimp. Part of the problem, Brian, people like you don't believe in climate change. This is a great irony. Climate change is actually getting worse